Tropsyn. There once lived a poor man who had 4 sons, and the oldest was 22 and the youngest 17. All 4 left home to seek their fortunes. They had traveled only a day when they met a farmer who, in return for harvesting his crops, would let them have as much wheat as they could carry away in 2 wagons. These terms seemed reasonable enough, and after a month of hard work the 4 brothers collected their wages. But since they had no use for so much wheat, and were concerned with their aging father, they decided to make a gift of the wheat to him. They knew that the 2 wagon loads of cereal would not only see him through the winter, but would also afford him a little extra money when he sold some of it to his neighbors. Hence, after making their gift, they set off once again. When they had traveled for a week, they met a gentleman who asked them to work at his estate, offering each a horse in return for 1 year's labor. When the year was nearly up, Tropsyn, the youngest of the 4 brothers, went into the stable to look at the horses. There he saw many magnificent Arabians, Morgans, Percherons, and one unusually small Shetland. As he passed the pony, a strange thing occurred. The animal looked at Tropsyn and spoke to him in a human voice.
Tropsyn, said, when you choose your horse, select me.
Why should I do that? Asked Tropsyn.
I cannot tell you, replied the pony. Please believe me.
When the day came for the brothers to make their selections, one chose a Morgan, another an Arabian, and another the Percheron. They all laughed when Tropsyn called him a fool when he chose the weak and worthless pony. As they rode away, the pony's gait was so slow that it could not keep up with the bigger horses. Thus, Tropsyn was left far behind. But as soon as they were alone, the pony said,
Tropsyn, let me go into the brook and drink some water.
The lad dismounted and sat down by the tree, awaiting the animal's return. Within minutes, the animal was back, but somehow the tiny pony had changed its form and was now a fierce and glorious brown stallion.
Mount me, Tropsyn,
Commanded the stallion.
I will,
He replied, as soon as I pick up the beautiful gold feather that's lying on the ground.
Don't touch the feather,
Said the horse,
or it will lead to nothing good.
It is too beautiful to leave behind, replied Tropsyn, and he picked up the feather and put it in his shirt. Then they were off, and to Tropsyn's astonishment, the horse's hooves did not even touch the ground. This wonderful animal could actually fly. Well, in less time than it takes to blink an eye, Tropsyn had overtaken his 3 brothers. Where did you find that stallion? They asked when they recognized their youngest brother. I met the man who wanted to trade his horse for my pony, replied Tropsyn. He must have been an even bigger fool than you are, Tropsyn, they laughed. The 4 brothers rode on together until they came to a magnificent castle. The king who owned the palace greeted the 4 lads and offered them employment. The oldest was made stable-keeper, the next was placed in charge of all the cattle, the 3rd brother was appointed the chief swineherd, and Tropsyn was made the chief coachman. The 3 older brothers were very jealous of Tropsyn, for they felt that he had been given the easiest and the best, most dignified job. At night, when all 4 brothers were resting in a common bedroom, Tropsyn pulled the gold feather from his pocket. To everyone's surprise, it glowed brilliantly in the darkness. As soon as Tropsyn fell asleep, the 3 brothers decided that not only would they tell the king of the unusual feather, but also would say that Tropsyn had boasted that he could capture the golden bird from whom the feather had been taken. After the king had heard the brothers' tale, he ordered that Tropsyn be brought before him. I understand that you can capture the golden bird, said the lord. That I most certainly cannot do, your majesty, replied the lad, for I do not even know where the bird lives. Do not lie to me, Tropsyn, the king said gravely. I order you to capture the bird, and, he warned, If you do not bring it back to me by tomorrow night, I shall have you thrown into the dungeon. Tropsyn left tears with his eyes and went to the stable where his magnificent stallion was eating oats.
What's the matter, Tropsyn?
The horse asked the lad. My dear friend, Tropsyn replied, I've been given an impossible assignment. The lord and master of this castle has commanded me to bring the golden bird to him. If I fail on the task, I'm to spend the rest of my life in the deepest dungeon.
Didn't I pick you not to pick up that feather? Said the horse. But it is too late to worry about that now. Do exactly as I tell you, and with a little bit of luck we will capture the golden bird. Jump on my back.
Tropsyn did as he was told. Within a few minutes he found himself before a broken-down hut.
Inside the shack there lives an old witch who is the owner of the golden bird. Although she may appear to be friendly, do not trust her. She is actually very nasty and will try to harm you. There is only one way to get the bird. After she has greeted you, she will walk over to the cage that contains the bird. The minute her back is turned, make a somersault and transform yourself into a flea. Then climb under her shawl and bite her on the shoulder. The itching will so infuriate her that she will throw the shawl onto the floor and forget about you for a couple of minutes. At precisely that instant, you must change yourself back into a man, grab the cage, and make your escape. I will be waiting for you, and we will be on our way before the witch realizes what has happened.
Tropsyn followed these instructions, and everything worked out perfectly. While the witch was scratching herself furiously, Tropsyn escaped with the bird. Nearly 5 minutes elapsed before the old hag came to her senses and realized that she had been duped. When Tropsyn returned with the golden bird, his brothers' faces turned red with rage. They decided upon a plan that they felt surely would lead to Tropsyn's downfall. A beautiful water princess lived at the bottom of the Danube River. Each Sunday she rose to the surface of the river and then floated down it on a silver boat. Many a king and nobleman had tried to capture her then. However, when anything approached the boat, a whirlwind would suddenly form and suck the boat into the depths below, or smash it against the cliffs that lined the shores of the river. Early the next morning the three brothers appeared before the king. My lord, said the oldest, Tropsyn claims that he can capture the water princess.
Have him brought here immediately, replied the king.
When Tropsyn heard what he was supposed to do this time, he became very sad. My lord, he said, I don't know who told you the story, but it is not true. As you know, no one can capture the Danube maiden.
I don't believe you, replied the king. Did you not tell me the same thing about the golden bird? I expect you to capture the princess this Sunday. If you fail, I shall have you thrown into the deepest dungeon. What's the matter, Tropsyn?
Asked the stallion when Tropsyn entered the stable with his head bowed low. After the horse heard of the new task, he reassured his friend.
Though this would be an impossible task for most creatures, we shall manage it. Now, listen closely. First of all, you must obtain a boat that is neither too large nor too small. On this boat you must place a number of jugs containing milk and honey and wine. But into the wine drop a few grains of sleeping potion. Then, by pushing the boat behind, float it directly into the princess's path. When the princess sees that the boat is unoccupied, she will go aboard and drink of the wine, the milk, and the honey. As soon as the drug takes effect, the princess will fall asleep. At precisely that moment, but not a second earlier, you must jump onto the boat and row it as fast as you can to the west side of the Danube. I shall be waiting for you there, and before the princess awakens, we shall be back at the castle.
Tropsyn did as he was told, and everything worked according to plan. The king was delighted to meet the lovely maiden, but when he asked her to marry him, she made a strange request. "The man I will marry will have to bring my wild herd of horses to this castle." The king tried and tried, but didn't succeed in getting near the horses. They stampeded whenever he came within half a mile of them. "Why don't you try it, Tropsyn?" said the king. "If you succeed, you shall not only marry the princess, but you will also become the heir to my kingdom." Once again, the lad sought the stallion's advice.
Oh, once we have an easy task, replied the horse. I shall bring the leader of the wild herd to the shore of the Danube, so that you can ride her back to the castle.
"But how about the rest of the herd?" asked Tropsyn.
Do not worry, replied the horse. They will follow the great mare.
Thus Tropsyn and the stallion set off on their trip. When they reached the river's bank, Tropsyn dismounted, and the stallion waded into the water. Within minutes, the great mare appeared and followed the stallion to the land. There Tropsyn mounted the horse and in a gallop set off for the castle, followed by the entire herd. When the princess saw her horses arrive, she greeted Tropsyn and acclaimed him a great hero. Soon thereafter, a great wedding feast was celebrated, which lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Although his three brothers had only wished ill for Tropsyn, he forgave them as soon as he appointed them to positions of great influence. On the evening of the wedding feast, Tropsyn wandered into the stable to speak to the falcon. "I owe everything to you," he said. "Just tell me what it is you wish, and it shall be granted."
Everything has worked out well, replied the horse. Now I wish to be set free. There's nothing more that I can do here.
"If that is your desire," replied Tropsyn, "you may go wherever you please, but I shall miss you deeply."
To be free is my only wish, replied the stallion.
Tropsyn then unleashed the marvelous horse and walked with him to the castle gate. "Farewell, my friend," he shouted as the horse cantered off into the countryside. But just before the horse disappeared from view, Tropsyn saw Gypsy dressed in splendid costume from the Bakwana tribe mountain right away. Tropsyn never saw the horse again. Many years later, however, when gypsies had gathered by a campfire not far from the castle, he walked over to chat with him. When he asked about the horse, the old gypsy woman approached him. "Perhaps I can tell you something, Lord Tropsyn. Perhaps I can," she said. "Last night a great honor was paid to our tribe. The king of all the gypsies visited us. When I approached him and helped him dismount from his magnificent stallion, he said, 'If you should see Lord Tropsyn, tell him that a horse wishes him well.' That is all he said, Master Tropsyn, and I did not understand what he meant, but perhaps you do." The light of the campfire flickered on Tropsyn, and all who were near could see the smile on his face. "That is good news, indeed, my dear woman," he said. Then he stood gazing into the fire, thinking of his beloved horse and all of the magnificent adventures the years gone by.